confident. Gotta be comfortable.
Oh yeah, y'all like my new haircut?
That's a new cut. I like it cut, G.
So, as I always say, everyone, I hope this is a long-standing podcast where everyone from all backgrounds, can be comfortable and feel as though that they can listen and be a part of this organization that we spit on. Not literally spit on.
All went for it.
But
y'all was just more insane.
We was into it.
Oh my
brain
god.
lagged.
But no, I hope that this could be something where everyone can feel comfortable listening to and being a part of. If you do have things to say or any type of stories you want to tell, please, I love to hear it. I want your opinions. I greatly appreciate it. I love to hear your stories. I love to hear your opinions. Shoot, actually, I got one the other day. Someone, for real, told me about how they felt about the pod. And it was a little bit negative, but we love it. We appreciate it. And we will continue to do this as long as people will keep asking for it. This is fun. And I hope we can have more and more every day. Period, Pooh.
Period, Pooh. Crazy.
So now on to, I think it's the 6th or 7th topic. I don't know, man.
I mean, it's up there.
Lost track.
It's up there now. It's up there and it's stuck. And it's up and it's up and it's up and it's stuck. Okay, this princess hat is a little bit making me a little too zesty.
You look like Barbie. I'm not gonna lie.
You smell it. You look as fruity as your drink smells.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
That's like
juice.
Minute Maid.
Slut
It's
juice.
Minute Maid.
We got that good Minute Maid now.
Minute Maid.
Yeah, we love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't had a good cup of Minute Maid in forever.
Unpopular opinion. Minute Maid's not all that.
What?
Alright, I think we're changing the topic for today's.
No. We can come back to this.
My God.
But we are on to the 6th topic,
Wild.
which is drumroll, please. Keeping an open mind / heart versus being closed-minded and keeping a closed heart. Ooh, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it.
That's crazy.
It's okay,
No,
you
this
could cut
is
this.
not it.
You could cut it. You could cut it.
I'm the same wavelength.
Oh, I just leaked it. I just leaked.
Do it away.
I just
no,
leaked
do away.
it.
Do away. You started.
I just leaked the next episode.
You could cut it. You could cut
I
it.
can edit it. I can definitely cut it.
I was gonna say you're not live.
But no.
Which one are we doing?
So we're doing the one. Okay, I'm gonna do the drum roll again. So what we're gonna do is drum roll, please. So we are bridging the gender divide, navigating through masculinity, femininity, and everything in between. Yeah. So some of the subtopics we'll be going into is dealing with masculinity and femininity, gender roles, toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, femininity, empowerment, intersectionalities, body images, body beauty standards, emotional expression, gender equality, parenting and gender socialization, male and women urges, media and popular culture, personal experiences and stories from all of us. As I said before, I would appreciate if you guys let us know how you felt about the episode and if there was anything you wanted to say personally. I greatly appreciate it all. Even those small little, I love this episode, or I just feel comfortable with this place. It's a nice spot. Because for real, this is America's safe place, safe space podcast. We are not doing that.
I will start barking in this podcast.
We are not doing monkey noises and grunting. I know we're the apes at heart, but we are not. I know we're the easy apes, but shit.
Sure, we're bringing that back next year.
We're bringing that back next year?
Bringing it back next year.
Aye.
100%.
But, going to question 1, to be honest, like, I really, really did, like, I really wanted to go into this episode because I wanted to go into this episode way long ago. Like, I wanted to go into this episode, like, a while back. but I felt as though I didn't have the right people to like speak on the episode with. And like once I got back to the school and I got around y'all two, I was like, damn, y'all would be perfect for this jump. I literally wrote the questions and like catered it specifically so that I could ask these questions for you two. But these questions aren't just for us three; they're for us all.
For everyone.
It's for everyone to be able to have an experience and talk and listen and be able to be open-minded and be expressive with themselves and tell us their stories. But I digress. So we are on to the first question, which is something revolving around the definition of like, no, not the definition. My God, how would you define masculinity and femininity, and do you believe these concepts are fluid and fixed?
So, off the rip, how I would immediately define it, that's just, first thing that comes to mind is like the stereotypical thing that society comes up with. Masculinity being the man, being a tough, broad, independent person, and femininity being that damnstrous and distress that may need someone or need some guidance in some way, shape, or form. That's the immediate thing that comes to mind with how society has gone on. But I think that's changing.
Yeah, I feel like the way that I know how it was when I was younger, growing up. Pretty sure for you guys too, growing up, it was always like the female is always dependent of the male, has to always be dependent of any male, and males are always like independent regardless on if they have a female with them. So I feel like that's always like the biggest like stereotype I could say.
I feel like for us, especially like just our ethnic backgrounds, and the demographic that we fall under is that men are very romanticized and they're very upheld praise because they are what drives like any sort of workforce, any sort of social aspect, anything and everything. Very romanticized with Hispanic cultures.
Oh yeah.
It's not always the case.
I know in society now it's always like women are always like seen as less than in terms of men, and whether you're if you're a feminine woman, you're way down there. But if you're like a masculine woman too, like you're all the way down there. You're lower than low. I feel like that's like a kind of like a societal thing in terms of like not really like big city areas. Like I know I grew up in New York City, so like everything's a lot different down there than it is up here. So I would say it also fully depends on where you're from.
Yeah.
I guess I would say that.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the inner cities, I feel like you see the roles not necessarily being flipped, just the roles are different, and that they still highly fantasize and praise the old traditional ways, just because of all that chaos that's within a city.
Yeah, no, and it also doesn't help with how polarized our political system is getting. So like, there's not enough people in the middle to like understand both perspectives. There's more of like hyper one side, hyper the other side, so it's like a lot of clashing heads, and a lot of clashing heads turns to like, I believe this and I'm not going to listen to what you believe, and vice versa. So it's like really hard to like get like equality for masculinity and femininity on the table if we're just getting more and more polarized by the days.
Definitely.
One of the things that like you guys kind of spoke of, which I was actually going to ask about, was mainly, do you believe in the fact that there are such things as masculine traits and feminine traits? For me personally, I do have an understanding that that's a thing, but I wouldn't say that there is strictly things that are having to be masculine and feminine, like boys like blue and girls like pink. Fuck all that bullshit. Like I like a good pink. Shoot, as I can wear today. Like I got a princess hat on. I'm probably gonna take this off in a little bit because it's getting kind of hot. But
I've been sweating
in there.
But no, I'm definitely one for like the understanding that like I want to do the things I want to do, regardless of like what many would say. So like if I want to wear pink, or I want to paint my nails, shoot, if I want to go to get a pedicure. The other day I was talking to one of my teammates, And he was like, I was like telling him like, dude, like your feet are a little messed up. You should probably go get a pedicure. It's not like I'm not saying like get no heavy duty like French tips and shit like that. But I'm like telling you like, yo, like your feet are like really messed up. You should probably get them fixed. And he's like saying like, what are you talking about? That's for the gays. And I'm like, no.
That's hygiene.
It's good self-care. Honestly,
it's good self-care.
It's good self-care.
Like you can have good hygiene. You can have nice feet. You can have nice hands. You take care of yourself. Cause who else will?
Raise your hand if you get a pedicure. You get a pedicure.
My toes be looking too pretty.
Oh God.
My hands be looking too pretty.
Too pretty.
These voices, pretty hands.
You could be a model.
I could be.
You could be a model.
Hey, hand model university.
Fuck around, have beats get us into a boy butt university.
No.
Foul.
Not boy university.
Foul.
But no, one of the other things I want to go into is how is the societal expectations and cultural norms influence understanding of masculinity and femininity? Or was that too deep, or do you want me to like dump? You want to limit turns?
I mean, we can get into it.
Get into it.
We can get into it.
So, I said, hey, you already turned it on the fire. I'm about to put it in the pan.
So you said, how do cultural norms like influence how we think about that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you have those stereotypical. I'm gonna name drop a couple people. Nothing for or against. No.
No name drops. What we can do
say colors.
Is make code name.
Colors.
Code names.
Can the code names be colors?
The code names be colors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we have a certain. Tennessee Dayton Youngin that thoroughly believes in gender roles.
Yeah.
Like, he thoroughly believes in the fact that women don't belong in the military. They should not. They belong in the kitchen. They are
like genuine.
They are
belief,
they are the caretakers, and that any role where a woman is in charge will just lead to any and utter disaster because he cannot look past the emotional brain that women allegedly have. And then again, you have those other people who are on the far extreme saying that anyone can be anything. Obviously, we're all none of us are excluded from our innate biological natures. There are some things, like going back to what you said, that may be innately feminine and masculine, not necessarily that they belong to those either gender roles. That's just how we've come to define them, innately associated with a certain gender. But there are just some things that you can't shake. So it's from both sides.
Yeah, I like what you just said, but I just want to kind of add on to that.
Yeah.
So another thing with depending on where you're at will be different, but in terms of places like Vermont, it's a lot easier to see femininity as equal to masculinity in terms of growth in the industries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But places I don't really know specific states and all that, so I don't want to name drop a state and then Idaho, where it's not equal whatsoever. There's a lot of places they don't really respect women, even though now statistically for every 100 women there are 97 men in the United States, which is actually kind of crazy to think about, that women are still such a minority in the workplace, but statistically, population wise, women are a majority in the United States as a whole. But I feel there's a woman running for president now. Do I think she'll win? Probably not, because she's a woman, but I feel it'll be something cool to see a woman being the president. I feel it'll inspire a bunch of other women in the workforce, and even if they're not in the workforce, if they chose to be a stay-at-home mom or something like that, if they chose a different life path, I feel that could motivate so many more women to kind of better see the potential that they could have, and not be talked down on by societal norms in terms of men being the better sex or whatever, if that kind of makes sense. I feel that would be...
I don't really rock with that shit at all. That whole men are better, yada yada yada. So I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of the smartest and strongest people I've ever met in my life are women.
Women.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, let's bring it all the way down to before we were born. Like
we come out of.
Our pops like just kind of inside of our moms, and then that's it, and then that's all they had to do to make a kid. But the woman is sitting there for 9, give or take some weeks, maybe days, months, handcrafting basically an entire human being, and then pushing that entire human being out of their body. Come on. Like, you expect a woman to do, not you specifically, but societal norms of men, like, expect a woman to do all of that and then stay at home and raise the kid. Like, the woman did so much work. It has to be equal. Like, it sucks how unequal society views masculinity in terms of femininity. Like, if you're a stay-at-home dad and the mom works, they view that as emasculating. It really kind of sucks, because, like, I know growing up for me, like, my dad worked a lot of extra shifts solely because we just didn't have that kind of money. So it was my mom working a normal 9 to 5, my dad working late. Like, he'll wake up at 4, head off to work, come back home. Some nights he'll come back, some nights he'll be lucky, he'll be home by like 4. Other nights he'll come back and it's like 9, 10 p.m. He was working extra just because we didn't have money. But like, that tends to be a societal norm. Like, you don't really see your father as much growing up, but you see your mother so much. Whereas if it was the other way around, it would be kind of emasculating in some societies.
And to add on to that, just drop a little quote real quick.
Okay.
Distance makes a heart grow fonder. Because you don't see your dad so much, you idolize and glorify him in a sense. And you're more critical of your mother just because you see, like, you have those day-to-day interactions. So you know what was, like, the best moments and the worst moments. And as people, we intrinsically want to have repetitive good moments. And so you're just going to be critical, like, why can't you just do it again? What changed? Why does everything have to be different this time around? You know? And it's like that thing where we're constantly critical of what's immediately around us, and we don't see the work happening in the background, but we also have to learn and appreciate what we see in front of us every day, because not only is, like, the mom working hard, it's like she also has to put up her own face because she has more to deal with than just you.
Like, honestly, being a stay-at-home mom in and of itself is a full-time job. Like, sure, you're not getting paid for it like you would a normal job, but the amount of work and effort it takes is a whole job in and of itself. So I would say for me, growing up, my mom had 2 full-time jobs. It was not only raising my brother and I, but it was also the 9 to 5 that she had in the hospital that she works in. And then my dad had his normal job. So I would say that, honestly, from my perspective growing up, my dad had 1 job, my mom had 2. And I know it was unintentional with them too, but
it just works out that way.
That's definitely how it worked out, yeah.
See, but then that just goes, like, I was brought up a little different, though. Like, see, in the beginning, it would be, my mom was working, but she didn't have to work that much because my dad was mainly bringing like, the money.
Yeah. He was the breadwinner.
He was the breadwinner. But then, later along the line, just some shit happens the way it happens due to people being people. And eventually, he's struggling to find work, and eventually he just can't bring in that much money. So my mom's holding 2 jobs, working night shifts, coming home late. She's being the main breadwinner, providing. There would be weeks on end where my dad is just at home.
Yeah. So was that your mom was working 2, like, jobs that gave her money, like? So that means she was working 3 jobs.
She pretty much was, because she would
raising
come home.
You guys.
She would come home.
Yeah.
Still have to cook.
Still have to cook. Still have to clean the house.
Still have to do all that thing. My dad was just able to just basically live free reign.
And societally, like, that tends to be a woman's role, is to not only raise the kids but also have a normal 9 to 5 job. So societally, women have 2 jobs. If they intend on having kids, they tend to have 2 jobs, and men have 1. Whether you want it to work out like that or not, that tends to be the case.
Because that's just the social norms that we sort of laid out, that the dad can sit in the background and still be present.
He's the cool parent. That's what it tends to be.
He is. Because he can be present. but he could be absent at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So at least from my experience, I pretty much had the same experience as you guys, where it was like, the thing was, I forgot like what year it was, like how old I was, but there was a point in my life where my dad left, and from that point it was like, okay, we have our mother, the provider, the supporter. I think if there was a competition for best moms, I don't think there is anyone better than my mom. I'm not gonna lie, this shit got me kind of emotional. Not gonna lie, cause like I don't think I'd be here. I don't think I'd be in the situations that I'm in. I wouldn't be able to do the things I do because of my mom. She has been the breadwinner. She's been the caretaker. She filmed my games. She filmed my games. Go to the bank. Help me with resumes, help me with taxes. Actually, I got asked to do jury duty for the first time ever. I'm at a military school. I don't really know the whole process with that one, but my mom helped me out with it, and like I don't really know where else I would go. If she was ever gone, to be honest, like one of the things that I worry is that I'm not able to be there for myself, and not even just for myself, but for my siblings. Like, I kind of see my mother as the head of the household, regardless of the situation. Like, yes, the head of the household tends to be like a male-dominated role, but like, not only was she the breadwinner, but she was the head of the household. What she says goes. We follow her rules. It's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like, at least that's me. I don't know about other people. Like, I'd be like, yes, ma, no, ma.
Dad was just backup.
Dad was backup.
He was just backup at this
point.
Man,
I ain't even had to back up.
You just had the one ruler.
I just had the one rule.
I will say, yeah, like, nothing against my pops, but, like, as of right now, like, a 20-year-old adult, kind of. I guess you could call me an adult. Honestly, I see my mom as the head of the household. Like,
she really is.
Like, my mom is 100% the breadwinner right now. Whatever she says, it goes. Nothing against my pops again, but like, if my dad tells me, oh, take out the trash, I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. But if my mom tells me, yo, take out the trash,
do it right this instant.
I'm doing it right now. Yes, mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna say something.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say this.
Okay? Hold on. Before you say it, give me some seconds. I'm gonna edit this out. You gotta check some.
You love the hearts.
Nah, the whole time I was singing that song in my head. A single mom who works two jobs to never live and never stop.
These combos are getting kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
These are already getting kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's how it's supposed to be. And please continue.
Say something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you come from a lesser background, and when you come from nothing, or you come from a lower income community, to say it nicely, I feel like the moms sort of have to take up those roles.
Yeah.
I've noticed. From what I've noticed, because I swear, see, I was fortunate enough for my parents to be able to put me through like a really nice Catholic school.
Yeah.
Nice little private Catholic school. All my friends were rich. All my friends had it. They were all scared deaths of their dads, but then they call their mom up like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Not me. I needed a favor. You know, I'd go through my mom afterwards to get her final approval, but I had to have my dad mediate it to some extent. I feel like when it comes to these lower economic households, is that the mom has to take it up. Obviously, if that's not the case universally, you know, you definitely have those kids where like fucking the mom may be the only person in the picture, so she has to take up that role. And it could be they come from a lower economic household, but they do have the dad as sort of like that boss parental figure.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you may even have it to where the dad is the only person in your life for some extreme cases. But like for the most part, what I've seen as a consistent trend is from lower economic households, the mom has to be the one to take up those roles.
Yeah, definitely. I also see a lot of people like our age even like disrespecting their moms and their parents in general, but mainly
stop
like
disrespecting your parents.
No,
we
exactly.
love our parents.
Exactly. Like you may have
be good.
You may have like a lot of disagreements with your parents, like I know growing up, I had so many disagreements with both of my parents, even to this day, like, I still do. But, like, at the end of the day, I respect my parents. You always gotta respect your parents, because, like, I mean, look at where you are right now. Your parents brought you there. I wouldn't be in this position right now if it wasn't for my mom.
They gave up their life for you.
Whoa. Okay. So, before we go into that, yeah. Time out!
Flag on the play.
So, I love and respect my mother no matter what, but that's my situation. Some people don't have that luxury to be like, they can just like, they can call their mother up and they call their father and be like, yeah, nah, I need this, or I'm really trying to, like, even just being able to just speak to your parent, like, not everyone has that right or that power, and yes, it sucks, but not everyone has it. So I apologize for saying we love our parents. I apologize. That's on me. That's my situation, my characteristics. I love my mom. We love you, mama.
We love you, mama.
But no, please continue.
Lost my train of thought.
Me too.
I have something.
Thomas the train left. Choo choo.
Alright, but that's fine. Then we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
What are some common stereotypes and misconceptions associated with masculinity and femininity that you would like to challenge?
Military.
Oh,
definitely
cooking.
The military.
Burn the house down. Burn it.
That's too.
Not the government. We love the government.
So there's so many people that believe that females shouldn't be in the military, or should be paid less in the military because it's a different PT test that they take. Hold on. Excuse me. Is this person still risking their life for the country? Is this person willing to risk their life for this country? I'm sorry, was the answer yes for both of them? I see no issue in that.
Because the people who believe in that, they're very patriotic, and their mindset is, you don't like this country, then you can get the fuck out. But at the same time, shouldn't you be happy with the fact that people are willing to serve and give up their lives? Not to disagree, just play devil's advocate with you really quick. There are situations in which a woman needs to be held to the same standard as a man. Say someone in a ranger regiment. Okay, this little 5'2", 110-pound girl, skinny. She's got good cardio. You know, she can keep up. That's like, generally speaking. Alright, I'm no expert. Okay, don't get offended if you do. Oh well, that's what good cardio. Good cardio is what you need for a to get into a ranger regiment. Yeah. Right. But you're telling me that this 5'2", 110-pound girl is going to be able to carry this 6'3", 180, 190-ish pound dude? So, like, there are times where, like, you know, there needs to be sort of, like, this overlap in where they can meet, but in general, there should be no issue. And innately, not saying that women are lesser, it's just that a man typically has a more innate physical advancement and capability than a woman would. Yeah, but not to say that they can't build themselves to that same level as a man.
Yeah, you see what you just put down? I'm picking it up.
Ooh.
Right? I'm picking it up.
Ooh.
And I'm going to meet you here, right? Ooh. So, in terms of, like, overall getting into the military, I know the Army is adapting to this kind of... I know the ACFT is more like if I'm not mistaken, it's like same minimums to pass them, which I really like because, I mean... I know for Marine Corps, there was I think like last month, the smallest Marine just graduated from boot camp. He was 4'7", and I feel like if he's able to do it, then there's definitely like taller, more built, more bulky, like women out there that could do it, right?
Yeah.
But I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're kind of getting at is like those specialty units aspects. So like getting into the base of it, everyone can do it. Yeah. And getting into the base of it, anyone can do it. And I really like that. Specialty units, I really do agree with that because I feel like there should be an equal playing field, an equal kind of balance. Because like the example that you said, like, yeah, like I'm 5'2", I'm not gonna be able to pick that up. I'm not gonna lie.
6 to 230.
I'm not gonna. I'm 100 pounds. I'm 5'2". Like I'm not gonna be able to pick you up.
At the same time, that 4'7" Marine can't even.
He can't. He can't pick me up. Probably. He might not be able to pick me up. Like, so I feel like it shouldn't be something that's looked at with gender. I feel like it should fully 100% be based on ability.
Yes.
So like ability, strength, agility, endurance, all that stuff. So I've picked up what you put down. Is there anything that you would like to digest about that?
No, I agree with that.
You agree with
I
that?
like that.
Ooh.
Spice. Tough.
Spice.
Pop in.
Shit. That was too cool. I'm sorry. That was too sexy. My God. Made me lose my train of thought.
I mean,
in normal society, do you believe that there are like some stereotypes? Like as I said before, with the whole pink and blue. Like the other day, for instance, so right now I don't know what Jordans these are, but I have these on.
There's a fire.
And I know they're lows, but like which specific ones I was trying to figure out. But I was wearing this with this specific outfit. I was wearing this to, I think this was the pink out for the volleyball game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was questioned regarding my sexuality and regarding like the type of person I was, simply because I was wearing pink and I was like comfortable wearing this. And I was saying like, this is just clothes. It's just a color. Like it's not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I personally like don't question myself regarding my sexuality. I know what I am, and I know what I want to do with myself. I know who I'm gonna sleep with. Well, not who I'm gonna sleep with. It's like what I prefer to sleep with.
I respect that. Yeah, I feel like color is just a color. Like, I feel like that whole pink is for girls, blue is for boys. I feel like that will sadly be something that either never dies down or doesn't die down for like decades to come, solely because when someone's pregnant and they do a gender reveal party, it's always when like a balloon pops, if it's blue, oh, you're having a boy.
Yeah.
If it's pink, oh, you're having a girl. And to distinguish your child when they're a baby, most people, not all people, but most people tend to dress their daughters up in like pink, all this pink clothes, even like yellow. But they tend to dress their boys up in like blue, green, red, like black, gray. There's that big like gap between how you're gonna dress your daughter up as a baby and how you're gonna dress your son up as a baby. And I feel like that sadly won't change in today's society for either decades to come or like something that just won't change, plain and simple.
I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a gender reveal, I'm gonna choose between those two colors.
Oh yeah.
Like I won't lie. And then like in the initial stages, like I won't lie, I probably will go along with that. However, my kid decides to identify from then on, or however it is they decide to like dress from then on, I mean you can't put that down. Because at the end of the day, you ain't want to be put down when you were growing up.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you don't know how your kid feels. Like, you're going to respect how they feel on the inside, you know? You just want your kid happy at the end of the day.
And the more you resist against it,
yeah,
the stronger they'll start to feel about it,
mm-hmm.
and the more they'll end up turning against you.
Yeah, you butt heads a lot more growing up. Yeah, that one's pretty deep.
Definitely. So, like, while we were having this discussion regarding, like, certain, like, rules and types, for some kind of reason, I actually, like, didn't think about this until, like, just now. But, like, certain words that are, like, made to define, like, males and women's that, quite literally, I just looked up. But, regarding, like, mature masculines, where it was, like, protection, direction, stability, clarity, and certainty. And then for women, it's intuition, surrender, sensitivity, nurture, and openness. I was sitting here and I'm like reading this and I'm like, what?
Surrender.
Like why is the feminine side like more looked at as like weaker or like more
like less than.
Yes.
Like less
like
than.
So for me at least, and I'm pretty sure there are other people out there, I see women as like people who can do almost everything. They do everything that I can do, and I expect them to. No, not expect. Not expect. I believe they can do anything that I can do with the effort that they put in. I believe that they can do anything I can do, and sometimes better. I trust and believe that no matter how big and strong I am or how tall I am, I believe that they can do it. And I hope that they believe the same thing with, well, no. I don't think they expect me to give birth. That's not going to happen. I definitely cannot do everything that a woman can. Let's not get it twisted.
You're also not made to do that.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
So no.
Your bio says no.
But no.
Bio says no.
So the words like regarding like younger side of men is like violence, control, like the idea of like seeking control, the abuse of power, avoiding your issues and stuff like that, and arrogance. And I'm like, okay, great heavens. And then for the woman's side, it's like overwhelmed, confused, uncertainty, anxiety, and low self-worth. Why is this the way we look at each other?
See, there are definitely very arrogant women, and there are definitely very confused and anxious men out there.
Yeah.
So, as we're seeing this, this pool start to mix and merge. Because at first, people used to look at it as like oil and water. It just won't mix. But now we're seeing that, some of that is like, some men pick up on some innately feminine traits and vice versa. Women picking on innately masculine traits. It's starting to mix. People will blame that on media. People will blame that on, let's say it right now, just to call y'all out. People will blame that on liberal aspects and left views. People will blame it in any and all sorts of ways. And maybe that's just the way we're evolutionizing. Maybe men are starting to realize more and more that it's okay to be in touch with your feelings.
Yeah.
Or in women, it's okay to be tougher and to fight your way through. Because a man has to fight their way through, no matter what. And I will say that is a stress that's put on us, where we're expected to fight our way through no matter what, rather than being able to surrender. Whereas a woman is always put down and meant to surrender when all that anger builds up, and then she's right there, hit you out of nowhere.
So, speaking of fighting things, one of the things that I was thinking about the other day was the fact that I say this all the time. I'm just gonna thug it out. The issues that are presented towards me, the minor inconveniences, the bull jive turkey, but just the overall annoyance of certain things, I have to just thug it out and try to fight my way through it. When in all actuality, I believe that especially now, I shouldn't have to just thug it out. I should be able to feel comfortable speaking about my issues. Yes, there are some things that I can just be just push through it. Because, there are some things that I can just deal with because that's how life is. Life is hard.
Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches.
You gotta roll with the punches. But there are certain things where it's I should be able to say, hey, I need help. I really need the opportunity to speak to you and have that moment of peace to try to get back in tune with my inner self. And I really appreciate my therapist and giving me the opportunity to speak about those things, because me personally, I am definitely an advocate for therapy, but I am very much, I will thug that shit out. I have done that for a very long time. And when I was younger, I believed that it was just normal to kind of just accept and forget. Just realize that, that this moment happened. How can I be better because of it? like afterwards, like what can I do so this doesn't happen to me again, and then I move on and I kind of just do self-diagnosis, self-therapy. Like literally, I'll sit my little doll in here. I'm a victim of this now, where I'll sit my son in my chair and I'll sit in the little chair and I'll like ask myself questions, like regarding like what I need for myself. But why do that? Like I don't. I personally, at least now, I really do believe that like you should go seek therapy to like have those moments to, like speak those things out, especially as a male, especially as an African American male or a POC male in general. Try to feel more free to like go speak about your issues. You don't have to just thug it out for the rest of your life. You don't just have to ball up all your emotions and let it all out on like the one or two cherry on tops. And I'm a victim of that. I was very much like that, especially during my freshman year of college, and I kind of hurt somebody because of it. And more than anything, I really wish that I could apologize to them because they didn't deserve that. No matter how much issues I had, no matter like what was going on, they didn't deserve that. And I don't care like regarding like the lash out, but I do have an understanding that I can be better. Not just by myself, but by seeking the help and being able to actually speak about my issues and dealing with the things I need to do for myself. So once again, I do apologize to the people that have been that cherry on top for me. And I'm pretty sure you guys have had the same situations, or maybe not. But y'all can say what y'all deem is necessary.
See, for me, it was never like this one person. See, like we all have our own personal punching bags, whether we realize it or not. Like we all do, I feel like. It's more just like a compilation of like anything and everything that happens. And eventually when it just gets so heavy that I drop it, it's like, it's more based on who's around me at the time. Like, you know, that night where I was just not having it. And I was just like, I'm so tired and everything. Like, I just like couldn't handle that anymore. Like I just had to drop everything. I just could not hold that weight up. And so for me, it's not necessarily just I have an outlet or a person to always go to. It's just more about where I am and when it happens, mostly. So I can't really speak too much on like relating to you, but that we all have those moments where we have that punching bag, and however much we overdo it or however much we don't exert, it's all like personal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like for me, I've never really had a specific person like as my punching bag or like using me as a punching bag. I feel like everything just always adds up. Like it's like a little Lego set, right? If you keep adding Legos on top of each other, sure, like that Lego set is fine if the tower is this tall. You keep adding it and adding it and adding it, even the tiniest like gust of wind can knock it over, and like very, very easily knock it over. And I feel like the higher that Lego set gets, it's like you get more and more like sensitive to certain topics. And there's not really many ways that like a lot of guys feel comfortable with seeking help. Like it's really good of you that you go to, you see a therapist and all that, which is, I commend you for that. That's really strong of you. But I know not a lot of guys like feel comfortable going to a therapist. So like, I know for me, I got into boxing. Hitting the bag like really helps like a lot. A very toxic outlet that I had over the summer, I got into playing Valorant.
The video games.
That very heinous things he would say.
I say it's so toxic specifically for Valorant because I would have such a bad KD ratio, and then I'll be like, yeah, just one more game. I'll be there for 10 more hours. So that's like a really toxic outlet for it. That's the word. it's a really toxic outlet. I would say video games, but I feel like boxing for me, like being able to hit that bag is like, it relieves so much built up stress and anxiety and anger that I could have. So I also feel like that's something that's different per person. Like I know you, it's seeing your therapist. Me, it's boxing. You know, like I'd rather not let it build up, not let that tower get too high, because I've seen myself when that tower was too high, and I've scared myself a few times.
To add on to the Lego analogy,
Mm-hmm.
when it knocks over, there are some parts that are just scattered all over the place, so far out that they don't bother you as much anymore. So then it's self-manifesting. It's like however much you let it bother you will bother you, and how much you let it get to you will continue to affect you. But then you also have those pieces that just stay in giant clumps and stick together, because some of those things are just irremovable. To add on to that analogy, it's just that like you do have to go at it and pick them apart piece by piece, whereas some things will just like authentically like dissipate out.
Yeah, that's also like the only way you can have good and healthy personal growth. It's gonna suck, but going through all of your trauma growing up, and I know like for all the female friends that I've had growing up, they've always been really mature in the fact of like how they've dealt with their issues and like how they were able to like kind of push their own personal lives aside and work on themselves before doing anything else or focusing on other people. I know with a lot of guy friends that I've had growing up, not really want to touch upon their feelings. So I feel like touching upon, like it's gonna suck, but touching upon those feelings that you have, it's a very healthy thing to do in the long run for self growth, you know.
And see, like you saying that reminded me a little bit of like my family dynamic. My mom, as we said, eventually turning out to be the main breadwinner and the main caretaker at the same time. She would go on to tell my little sister, after experiencing everything that she had to go through and continues to go through now, like, do not rely on the man. Do not let a man be the thing that defines you. Do not let a man be your crutch. You are your own woman. You are your own independent person. You can do it as well. Whereas she looks at me and she says, don't ever put a woman through that. Don't ever be somebody that drags someone down. Don't ever be someone that people have to worry about. Don't ever be someone that has to constantly be questioned, checked up on, constantly has to be micromanaged. And it's like, what that defined to me is how very similar my little sister and I are to how you describe your friends.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not as willing to talk about how I feel as much. Whereas my little sister, she's constantly able to have those self-reflections and those talks about how she feels. And she's able to move on and be able to build herself up from there. She's like this own little automated machine, whereas I'm here just sort of trying to stay in my bubble.
Yeah.
So, words. Jesus Christ. The Lord!
Let me put my fist down. I don't do that.
One of the things that, before we go to this next question, I wanted to mention, it's the support system.
Yeah. 100%.
And, like, regarding what you just said, like, quite literally, like, one of the things that, like, kind of just goes under the rug that not many people speak of is, like, how certain people's support systems are set up. Some people have a support system where they feel truly comfortable and, like, speaking on all their issues, getting off their, man, I just had, like, a bad day. This happened. Some people's support systems are straight up, it was it could have been better. And then it's just left as that. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to really explain, like, what really went down. Like, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I really appreciate that, like, the people in my circle, at least, have given me that opportunity. Because, like, yes, there are days where I can't speak to them. But those are the moments where I give myself, like, mental check-ins to be like, hey, how you doing, kid? How do you feel? Like, I might not be able to explain it in words, but I do want to be able to explain it in, like, physical actions, facial features, sign sometimes. Yeah, we do sign language here. Yeah. So two things before we go to the next question. I honestly believe that everyone should try to at least learn
another language.
The letters to sign language. I'm not gonna lie to you. Single most clutch thing I've ever used in a party. Ever. Just get out. Like, you can literally sign it immediately. And if everybody is, like, looking, it's just you don't even have to say no words. It's great. I love it. I love the power that I have sometimes. I do it at practice. I do it in games. Shoot.
It's toxic for me. I don't like talking to people, so I just start signing out of nowhere.
It just feels good sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, let me continue. Okay, so now I have to let you guys know this. We are going from cooking to burning things. We're on 9.
I don't like my burgers well done. I like them rare.
You like them rare?
Don't do me like that.
Yeah, I like
meat. Done. I want my shit rare. Black. As a matter of fact, leave that motherfucking hot dog in the fire with a charcoal lays a little bit. I want a little bit of crunch with my shit.
But I want my cow to still moo when I take a bite into that burger. I'm not gonna lie. Let it gush.
I want to hear that shit scream. I want the blood dripping from me. You know what I'm talking about, Dracula.
They don't know that.
They don't know that,
no.
but I do. But we do.
But we know that. Speaking of Dracula, I think that I'm doing my Halloween costume as a vampire.
Ooh,
but
of course
I digress. So the next question is, how has your personal experience shaped your understanding of your own masculinity and femininity? I chose this question for you.
Fuck.
You're in the spotlight.
I'm not gonna lie, so y'all don't know me. I'm trans. FTM, right? I came out when I was 16. 16 to my friends, 18 to my parents. Growing up was hard. 18 to y'all guys. Growing up was hard. Growing up, I was always taught the whole, you're a female, you have to do your stuff this way, you have to be this way, you have to do this. You're a girl, you shouldn't act like that. Why? Right? I always question my parents, like, why? Why can't I just be me? Right? They always hated defining me as masculine. But it took until I came up here. I moved up to Vermont, like 5-ish hours away from home for my parents to, like, get off my back about how masculine I am. To this day, they still don't know that I'm on testosterone. That's great. Almost a year, and they don't know yet.
Yeah!
They just think you're growing naturally.
They just think I'm... You see...
Shit, he was meant for it?
You see... But what I view as growth, they view as change. So I try to give them grace with that.
Well, growth is innately change. It's just, do they look at it as...
I will say definitely the way that I was brought up has definitely made me... it's definitely made me view both femininity and...
That's a hard word.
It's a big word for Elmo. Femininity and masculinity in two different lights. I will say, my best friend asked me, she texted me, or we were on FaceTime, and she asked me if it was true that I feel... You could cut this out if it's not good, but she asked me if it's true that I'm a lot hornier now that I'm on testosterone.
No, hey,
that's
honestly,
good.
We just had an episode the other day where we just revealed that I'm like a little bit of a slut. But
well,
no,
we already
like
knew that.
speak your truth. Speak your truth.
So, honestly, yes, like it increases the sex drive, right? That was one of the side effects that my physician told me about, anyways. So I was prepared for it. There's a lot of stuff that's changed with a lot of different drives, and like my anger, I will say, has gotten a lot worse. So these all these like stereotypes with males being different than females, or at least like masculinity being different than femininity. I will say I see their origin of these stereotypes. Um, I've seen it a lot this past year. Um, this whole I'm not as emotional as I used to be, but I'm a lot angrier than I used to be. And I don't know if that's just situational based, because it 100% could be situational based. But I know for me, that's definitely been a huge, huge change in growing up and seeing all that. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of big changes for definitely fitting those stereotypes. I can say that. It's hard to admit when something fits a stereotype, honestly, but like in those like first few questions that we were all talking about like societal norms and all that. I definitely growing up, I've definitely seen a lot of emotion being shown towards me as opposed to my brother. Um, Definitely saw a lot of that, and then coming here, it's a lot less emotion after I came out to my parents. A lot less emotion, not really the cold shoulder, kind of, but more of like a thug it out type mentality, you know? Definitely got a lot of that. I will say my friends have been sublime. Sublime in a word.
Sublime!
In a word, right?
Sublime!
My friends have been amazing with helping me out mentally, and I know it's very hard to go to people mentally. For me personally, it's hard to go to people when I need mental help and emotional help, really. But yeah, I will say it's always good to have those good friends in your life. If you are fortunate enough to have those people in your life. But yeah, I've definitely seen that those stereotypes tend to be pretty true in my case, at least.
Joaquin?
So for me, it was a lot more self-imposed things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I saw my dad, he went down a hole. He like was not willing to reach out for help no matter what, and then like the family suffered from that, you know? And I see that, and I hear my mom telling me, don't ever put someone through that, be someone that's reliable, be someone that's decisive, be someone that can get it done. And so a lot of that was self-imposed. I saw what I ran with, like whatever typical like masculine traits and whatever typical toxic masculinity or anything associated with being a man. I ran with those things. Eventually, like as I grew up, I realized that I do have what other people would assume as feminine qualities, whereas I assume that's just me being like a true man. Whereas a true man takes care of himself, and so whenever like say for example, we're gonna get like y'all are gonna hear a lot about hygiene with me because this is a prime example that is what people were dogging me on was how excessive my hygiene was. People would look at me like you shave your whole you shaved your armpits, and you took the hair off your arms, and you took away all of it from your chest and stomach, whereas some people just trim it. I'm like, yeah, that's just how I'm comfortable with it. That's just one example. Another example would just be me crying. I remember there would be times on end where I wouldn't cry for years, and like that night, last time I had cried was 2 years prior. And so like I just go on these long breaks where I just don't cry because that's a self-imposed thing that I came up with because like that's just how I've learned to interpret how a man is. As I go along, and like I said before, from a parent's perspective, the more you push down, the more your kids will resist. It's the same thing from yourself. The more that you sit there and suppress feelings and impose yourself to one way, like your innate feelings and your innate traits of doing things will eventually come out just because you're always suppressing those. And so there would be times where I'm just like where I just like wouldn't allow myself to cry, but it would come out in bursts of anger just because that's just how it's going to come out. And for me at least, a lot of it was self-imposed because of what I saw and what I left up to interpretation because I refused to ask questions. I was just sort of sit there, be quiet, get it done, no matter what. and don't let other people like in, pretty much. One quote that my dad did tell me, motherfucker definitely got it off of a fortune cookie or something, but you know, it works for me because it's something that I'm still quoting to this day and still somewhat resonates with me. It's be like a duck. Be calm and tranquil on the surface, but do not let them see how hard you're paddling underneath the water. Do not let them see how hard you're working. And, you know, so I don't always follow through with that. And, like, sometimes I fall short of that saying. But that's, for the most part, typically how I went along with things. So, whereas you was a lot of external pressure, with me, I came up with a lot of internal pressure just because I would not allow anyone in.
Yeah.
For me personally, I got a little bit of both of them. So, yes, I did have my external pressures from my mother, from my peers. For Pete's sake, I'm here. I'm doing what I wanted to do like my whole life. I got contracted. For fuck's sake, I don't know how.
Hey, you did it. They want you for a reason.
They want you. They want you.
They want you.
You belong to the government now.
But I think to myself, like, damn, I'm here now. But it wasn't just the external pressures, it was the internal pressures. Like, growing up, one of the things that, at least for me, I can't really accept the little things. Like, the little victories. Like, I've never been much of a award man. I've never been much of a, get that certificate. Because to me, it was just another certificate. It was just another thing to tell me that, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Instead of it being like a, oh shit, you did this. You earned this. You made this. This isn't just a step in your life. This is another fucking victory. You earned this. And I apologize, I got a little emotional because the other day I literally cried about this. Because, like, it started to pop up and being able to accept a compliment. Like, it became, like, small little things like that. Where it's, like, you couldn't even just be like, thank you. I'd be like, no. I would, like, shut people down. Like, simply because they gave me a compliment, I'd be like, no, I'm not like that. Like, my drip is not that good. I don't know about all that.
10 out of 10.
But no,
do we want to open a wardrobe?
No, we're not doing that. But no, like, growing up, I kind of just, I didn't really learn to accept the little victories. Like, I was always a big victory guy. Mm-hmm. But even then, it was kind of just a big victory into the next step. Like, not many people discuss this, but one of the things that, like, is honestly, like, really, like, good for people that people don't really talk about is graduating elementary school, graduating middle school, graduating high school, and then going to college. These aren't just stepping stones. These are, like, really, really powerful things, life-changing motions. Getting your first birthday, every birthday isn't just a stepping stone. It's supposed to be something that you really enjoy. Speaking of that, I turned 22 and today is...
Countdown.
Today's the 14th. So 5 days. 5 days.
5 more days.
Today we're recording on the 14th. I think this will be out the 28th. Maybe. Depending on how I'm cooking. But, cooking. But no, yeah, nah.
Cooking.
Stir the pot a little bit. We have unveiling, so we're gonna get hammered for that. And then we have your birthday, so we gotta pop on
Yes, we. Ooh, Junior ring! Ring me, baby! Ring me!
3 days. 3 more days.
I actually questioned that. I'm not gonna lie to you. We might have to talk to my man Jenkins, cause I don't get me wrong. I've definitely done my core obligations, but I still do think, and I'm trying to figure out whether like the actual regulations to get your ring is. Like I had to sit there and actually research that again because I remember like when I was going up for the board, I wanted to like I literally researched and tried to understand like everything I needed to do, and I still believe that I did it, but I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff that I have to like square off.
Let me say this: you took 3 semesters at ROTC.
Yeah.
You passed your PT test.
Yeah.
Do you have any outstanding tours? I know you don't because you're my guy. I know
64
you don't
credits?
know about that.
Have
No
you taken
tours.
Have you taken more than 64?
65 credits?
65.
I think
And
I'm
that
like 80.
That includes what you're currently registered as. It's not finished. That includes what you're currently registered with.
We're almost at 80% of our major.
Wow.
So then you're good. You fulfill all the requirements.
Academic
Okay.
good standing.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
He's good.
I'm decent.
He's decent.
Okay. Do you have above a 2.0?
Yeah.
You're
So
at
then
good
you're
standing.
good. You're in good standing.
Okay, then we can get a ring. But
Big ring eyes.
like as I
Ring
said
eye.
before, like I never really understood like the little victories until like I got older. Like I got here, and one of the first little victories that like I accepted was the gold star.
Yeah.
Like when I first got here, I got like a 3.51. Barely made it.
Barely.
I barely got out. But no, like I got my gold star, and it's like, at first I was sitting there, I was like, damn, like this is big. Like I'm a dean student, not consecutively, but I'm a dean student.
At one point you were.
I'm running on 21 to 18 credits. Like I'm doing that shit.
Double athlete. Dual
Damn,
athlete.
I forgot about
Dual
dual sport athlete.
Dual athlete.
Fucking hosting a podcast and shit like that.
ROTC pursuing.
ROTC.
Contracted.
Fuck a pursue.
Oh.
We contracted now.
now in this
Contracted.
But no, like I still have issues like thinking about like I still have issues like thinking about the little victories and like realizing like who I am. Oh yeah, tuck cuts. Tuck cuts.
Tuck cuts. I'm gonna give me a tuck cut.
we cut heads too. This is the Norwich Trade Center. Honestly,
I'm gonna get a tuck cut tomorrow.
Tuck cut.
tuck us tomorrow. Tuck us tomorrow. Alright, we can make something happen.
I'm gonna get a burst.
But no, yeah, a cool burst fade.
Nice
Most
burst.
that.
Book him right now.
Book me.
Write me
Book
down
me.
right now. I'm gonna write it down.
Put this shit down.
I'm gonna
Put this shit down.
Right there.
But no, I hope that one day that the little victories won't just be little victories. I hope that I can be accepting of all the things that make me me, because I know that I'm not perfect. I'm for certain not perfect, but I do have one thing that I understand, and this will probably be the quote of the day, or it might be the quote that is on like the quote of the day. I will not be defined by my sins. I will not be defined by my mistakes. I will rise like I'm a phoenix and show the good in me. Because there is good. Yeah, there's some hardships, but there's good. Nah, I got too emotional and shit.
It's all right.
But on to the next question. On to the next question.
Wait. Let's continue that. Since we're talking about quotes, why don't we go around and talk about a quote and throw it up to interpretation? Just real quick. Just real quick.
I don't got a
I lock that. Quote for quote.
So
band for band.
Bar
for bar.
I'll go off first since I'm the one that brought it up. Give you a little time to think, especially you. So one quote that I saw somewhere, I forget where I saw this, but it was every dad's dream is to have their son become better than them. So the apprentice surpassing the master. My interpretation of that and how I took that growing up was my dad never had to explicitly say it because I already vowed to do so without with whatever it was that was happening. So with my whole thing with that, I saw that and I told myself like I believe that already. I just needed to visualize it and materialize it in order to fully understand what it was I was feeling and what it is that's driving me as of now. And so, every dad wants their son to be better than them. Why can't it be every dad just wants their kids to be better than them? It had to be son. Maybe it was from the back in olden days, whenever everyone was okay with like a man being at the top of the hierarchy. But to me now, where we're in a world of more and more, say, just for lack of a better term, deadbeats showing up, or more and more absent father figures where they can be present but absent at the same time. Like, in this point in time, like, we have to start realizing just because father's in the background doesn't mean they're all bad and perfect. Now, obviously, my dad did some things that were good. You know, he had his moments. But, you know, there's always that innate impression that will always be left with a child that truly speaks on their character.
Indeed. So, growing up, that is a quote that is very, very powerful, very, very powerful. But for me, it wasn't just the dad wanting the son to be better, but it was my parents wanting us to be better. So, like, quite literally, like, I grew up in a household where it was like I was expected to be better. It's kind of hard to be better when your mom was that 4.0 student, top of her class type shit. Raised all three of us while in school, was working full-time student, was a little track athlete. It's a little hard to live up to that standard sometimes.
It is.
And I know that, like, I idolize my mother. But it is kind of hard sometimes to live that standard. So it's like, one of the things, I think you posted it, and I posted it on my story, was, please correct me if I'm wrong on the quote, it was like, disappoint them, but never disappoint yourself. If I'm correct,
yeah,
please correct me.
It was you can disappoint them all you want, just never disappoint yourself.
Yes. And I took that to heart. As it was like, regardless of what everyone else said, regardless of how everyone else feels about your actions, the things you do, you have to live with the fact that you did the things you did. You have to live with the fact that you're the man or the woman, or the they, them, or whatever you feel as you are. You have to live with that. So either you're doing things you deem as positive, or you're seeking negative interactions. So for me personally, like, I am working on, like, actually, like, doing things for myself. Like, I can have my own little things, my little positivity things for myself. But, excuse me. Like, going to the thrift store, I know that there are a few people that want to go with me, but, like, sometimes I use it as, like, a therapy thing. Like, I'll go down there, I'll probably spend, like, $20, $30 on, like, some nice stuff, and I'll donate some stuff. But I do it because it's good for me. I love the little missions. I be going to the consignment shop in town, get the little card jackets. I'm not geepy. Go if you want to go. Go if you want to.
You gotta learn to enjoy your own company. You know?
But
yeah, if you can.
Oh, speaking of that, fucking God. So, this semester, I think I might have mentioned this. If not, then I'm mentioning it now. I was single. I have had more alone time than I've ever had in my life. Like, quite literally, this is the most alone time I've ever had in my life. And one of the things my older brother brought up to me, Caleb, love you. He brought up to me that, like, try to get more accustomed to being alone. Like, you don't have to be lonely, but you do have to get accustomed to the fact that you are alone. Like, I had once said this when I was, like, younger, because I believed that this was, like, a normality. But, like, I was like, I don't think I could live alone. Like, I was always in a room with my siblings. Like, growing up, like, before my parents was like, yeah, no, my sister and my brother can't be in the same room no matter if they're twins or not. Like, I was alone. But, like, now, like, it was, like, to a point where it was like, I don't think I can be alone in a room. And I've been alone in this room for, when did I get here for football? August 9th. So, August, September, October. So, almost 3-4 months. There are quiet moments. There are very, very loud moments. There are rambunctious moments. But it's my room, it's my domain. 505 is my spot. And it's a little hard sometimes, but I do have to get accustomed to the fact that you are alone, but you are not lonely. You have yourself. You can call your peers if you need to, but get accustomed to the fact that you're in a room with yourself. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your peace. Play your video games. Crank your music at the top of the fucking time.
It's me. I'm the music player.
You're the music guy.
I'm
the video game one.
Yeah, but it's show space.
You know what that reminded me of? I'm gonna keep referencing my family as much as that's just me. A quote that my sister gave me. I'm a quote person too.
Big
Quote for the quote.
Big quote.
That she gave to me while on a rant about my mother or some shit was, you may have been surrounded by people when you came into this world, but as far as you're concerned, you are alone. You came into this world alone, and you will leave this world alone.
Yeah.
No matter how much you are surrounded by other people, in the end, you are alone. And get comfortable with that. Get used to that, because it's something that can be healthy or it's something that can be unhealthy. It's all about how you're able to treat it. And again, that is up for interpretation, and that is a lot of self-empowerment and a lot of weight to put on someone at one time, but that's just something that has stuck for this long. So,
I have a question.
yes.
If you're
Go for it.
if you're a twin, did you come into the world alone?
Well, okay. Are you the one that came out first? Did you come out first, or did you come out second?
I don't know. I'm not a twin.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a question for my motherfucking siblings.
That's a
Honestly,
question.
you got
Twins.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
siblings are twins.
Fraternal.
Oh,
Jaden Jahari.
shit.
Love them to death.
I thought y'all were just like a year apart.
No, that's not my twin.
No.
They are twins.
No. I know that. I was saying I just thought all of y'all were a year apart.
Oh.
No, Jesus Christ, no. They are born on the same day, July 28th. I don't remember times.
Something about the 28th coming up in your life.
I don't know what's with these 28s, bro. Something is up with these 28s.
What the fuck's going on with these
I don't know.
September 28th was his.
That was my canon
moment.
event.
That was his canon event, and everything's just been up.
Everything's just been up from then.
And it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up. All right, we're done.
Yeah.
That's our little bit of Cardi. We love Cardi.
Indeed.
I love
Alex, do you have a quote? Or should we move to the next section?
Oh, we're moving to the next section.
No.
I don't have a quote.
No. It don't have to be a quote. You could quote someone.
I have a quote.
Yeah.
But it's not pertaining to this topic.
Okay, but what's the quote?
No, that's fine.
I said it could be any quote.
Fuck around. It could, if it hits, it could be the quote of the day.
Ooh. Don't let your past define you.
How the fuck is that not pertaining to this topic?
That's exactly what we're talking about. We've been talking about looking back on how it is that we came up and defining how it is that's affecting us now.
I feel like that's a quote that hits so deep with me solely because of how I was brought up. And don't let your past define you. There was times where I tried to satisfy my mom growing up. She's always wanted a daughter. I tried to satisfy her growing up. I just could not. I knew that was not me. I felt like I was just in a shell with this person that's not me, just wrapped around me. But I was just lost somewhere inside. And then it wasn't until my senior year of high school where I started being me. And I fucking loved it. Excuse my language, but I loved it so much.
No excuse.
I love this shit.
I loved it so much. So I'm done with satisfying other people so that they're nice and happy and comfortable around me. Meanwhile, I'm dying and hiding inside. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. If I'm not affecting you personally, I don't see the issue.
Live your truth.
Live my truth.
Period, king.
Mic drop, if you will.
I was remembering the TikTok audio for a second. I'm gonna show you later.
What's that?
I'm gonna show you that later.
I don't know what that is.
But yeah, no, like that's actually like I'm very much proud of you. I'm proud of both of you, not just for like one being on this pod. Like I really appreciate it more than anything, but I'm proud of you for the things that you've done and the way that you've become. Like I very much have love for all y'all. I have love for all my Rook brothers and sisters and my cousins, but I really do like love you all, and I greatly appreciate you all more than you will ever know.
See, Hayes, you just go on to astound us on a day-to-day basis because you were that you were that guy in Rookdom when we were Rooks. Just
I didn't know you.
Like on some shit where like you were just you were in the background doing the work and you always came out in some way, shape, or form positive, no matter how much it came up, and you just like went on to. Whether people want to admit it or not, or whether they ran with it in a bitter way, or whether they ran with it in a positive, impressed way, like that you just went on to astound and surprise people 24/7.
Oh yeah.
So let me just say that like you're doing great too.
Dude, yeah, you're kicking ass, dude. You have no idea.
You are him.
You're Himothy, if you will.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But we digress.
We definitely digress.
We are moving to the next question. Are there any societal or cultural changes you would like to see in the way masculinity and femininity are perceived or portrayed?
I know I mentioned it very, very briefly before, but a female being the president. I feel like that would. I mean, I personally haven't done my own research into one of the candidates that wants to run, so I can't really speak on her, really. I can just say that having a female figure as the president, I feel like that can spark like a lot of motivation into our female population in the country. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, technically speaking, females are now a majority in the United States. 97 to 100 in the country. Like
the women,
if you will. Like it's kind of crazy.
We were all brought up on women.
We were handcrafted by women, if you will. Like, we really were.
See, let me say this. This is something that came to mind whenever you first said that, but it wasn't pertaining. But now it's the main topic.
Okay.
Whereas that's something that needs to be experimented with. You need to put, like, women in those roles in order to see what can come out. Obviously, just because they're a man and they're a woman, it's like there's going to be differences, but not all aligning with the fact that they're two different sexes. Like, that'll come down to a personal basis.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is, just to play devil's advocate and also be a little compassionate about the whole topic, is that this is something that is very, very delicate to test around with, because this isn't like a corporation where on a grand scheme of the entire national world could mean little to nothing.
Yeah.
This is the president of the free world we're talking about. To be a little compassionate, not to put down women in any way, shape, or form, and not to put down the candidates without saying anything. It's just, this is something that is...
keep talking, so...
This is something... My bad, I just got distracted. I see that. See, this is just like something that is a very delicate thing to test and experiment with. And obviously, you can't just put a woman as like a mayor or as like a secretary of whatever department or as a CEO or as a president of a company and be able to reflect that on like the leader of the free world, obviously. But it's still something that needs to be experimented upon. People will either just be too scared to have it be their time and have it to be in their time frame that's experimented on, or people are just scared of the change in general.
Yeah, I highly agree with what you're saying, and I also like want to add on, like, I feel like it shouldn't be a thing where, oh, we're gonna hire this woman because she's a woman and we need to meet our like quota, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, sure, you should have women, but like, I feel like back to the whole military conversation, like it should be an equal playing field in terms of like, all right, I'm gonna hold these two resumes in my hand. One is a female, one is a male, but they're both like named like Alex or something, because that's a unisex name, right? A gender neutral name rather. They're both named Alex Smith, right? I have two resumes in my hand. They don't say gender on them. I'm like, this one this one's a lot more qualified than this one. I'm going to pick this one, and then it happens to be a female. I feel like that is kind of what I'm getting at. It's like gender, it shouldn't be looking at gender. You should more be looking at qualifications for certain things, topics, ideas, and whatnot. So, like I said, like, having a female as president would be pretty sick, but I feel like it would fully be based on her qualifications as a person, if that makes any type of sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, regarding that, like, one of the things that, especially with me,
Mm-hmm.
considering, like, I'm had to be, like, if I, like, fully, like, put on the white suit, get everything that I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not really one to really worry about my president because I'm literally, like, voting for my boss.
Yeah.
But I do have an understanding that, like, it's more that what I want to see is, like, I don't really care about, like, the gender of the person.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of just the qualifications.
Yeah.
Is that person ready? Well, not ready. Because no one can be truly ready to become president. Oh my god.
No one's
I can only
ready for
imagine.
anything.
No.
Oh my god, the stress.
No.
Like, you are the quite literally one.
I would have stress.
The leader
every
of.
day.
Well, one of the things that one of the titles I love is the leader of the free world. I love that title so much, honestly. Banging title,
No, it
banging
really is.
nickname.
It's a flex.
It's a flex.
But no, like,
No one's ever
hearing
prepared
that
for anything.
and knowing that
No.
you are that is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was a little kid, I was saying that I was like, I would want to run for president. And I believe that fully I was going to do that. And maybe I will. Who knows?
Who knows? See, because no one's ever ready for, like, any role they're given, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously, whereas, like, us in an ROTC program, we're being cultivated to be leaders, well, to be officers, not necessarily to be leaders. So, like, no one's ever ready to be a leader, no one's ever ready to be a parent, no one's ever ready to be a president, no one's ever ready to be a follower, no one's ever ready to be a kid.
Yeah, honestly, like, you could have so much training on it, but you're never truly ready, like, inside as a person. You could never prepare enough
Yeah.
for that role, definitely.
Nah, that's actually a really good point, to be honest. Like, as I was saying before, it was like, no one's truly ready for the positions that we gain. It's just the fact that we have to accept it and kind of follow through. Because you're here now. The lights is on you. The camera's rolling. And now it's time to make that money. It's time to show the people around you that you can do it. That you can be their leader. That you can be the person they look to and that they can aspire to be. Because regardless of whatever you choose, you're the head.
You're expected to do so.
Yeah.
No matter what, at the end of the day, you could define your entire life story and how justified it may be as to why you may or may not have fucked up, why you may or may not have done something. At the end of the day, after all that explanation, after all that justification, and they move on, and even if they move on and accept, yeah, I can see why he messed up, I'll let it go. The next thing, they're still expecting something.
Yeah.
Always. Always.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I want to backtrack a little bit just because it's been.
We've digressed so much.
Yeah, because this has been on my mind. Whenever you
Yeah.
said that, so we've been trying to break down this whole like social norms barrier this whole time, but I'm gonna just add into this, okay? So the whole thing about like a woman being president or whatever,
Okay.
you know, it may or may not work to a certain extent, and this will seem very, very leftist sounding, but this is just obvious. This is just philosophical talking in my eyes, where it's like it seems that way because the whole time up until the 21st century, where we're trying to break those things down, the whole time it seemingly worked because men were the only things making the decision. And so to sort of, obviously we're trying to break down those gender roles, but to a certain extent we have to use them to our advantage as well, to where you need to throw some women into the mix, into like certain corporations, certain groups, in order to get it to work and all that. And so like backtracking to what we were just talking about, again, digressing more, in that like we would need, lack of better terms, a woman's perspective on how to lead, how to train, how to do this, how to do that. Backtracking more, which is why mothers are very, very important in our eyes, so in order to give us this diversifying view and everything. So, like, controversial to what we've been saying, but, well, seemingly controversial, but not opposing what we've been saying, is that we do need to throw some women in the mix in order to diversify how we think, just because of the way we're still built is from a man's perspective.
Mm-hmm. I feel like going deep down to like a really, really deep core is, I feel like it's a fear that early stages of men have built into their system, whether it was chosen or not. The whole idea of a woman gave birth to this child, a woman raised this child, and works a job. So a woman is essentially proving her strength, that she's like stronger mentally and maybe not physically, but mentally and emotionally. Physically, it obviously depends on the person.
Yeah.
But mentally and emotionally, she's proving how much stronger she is than a male. And I feel like that's like something rooted deep down within men to like shoot down any competition that they could face or have, whether they intend on it or not. It's something that tends to happen. So if there is a time, hopefully, that men actually see in society like how much stronger women are than they are, then like I feel like they'll see them as better than they'll see women as better than men. And I feel like that'll be like a fear to have. Like, you don't want to be treated the way that you've been treating women for centuries, but
people are just scared of that aha moment.
They're scared of that. They're scared of the aha moment. Like, it's okay when you do it, but if it's done to you, it's wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel like that it's very much a built-in fear that you didn't choose to have that fear, and then you were born into it, you know? Mm-hmm. Not saying you specifically, but
yeah. Just
yeah. Like, you didn't choose to have this fear, but being raised, it was kind of like it's kind of like you're catching a disease, kind of. Not calling it a disease, but kind of like you're catching something. It's unintentional, but it's being portrayed onto you and your characteristics, you know?
Indeed.
Indubitably, if you will.
Indubitably. Also, I wanted to mention, I like the word digress.
I love that word. It's a good word.
Very nice.
It's a good word.
There's a song that's been playing in my head about saying the word digress, but I can't remember what the song is, and I can't find the tune. All I know is that the person in the back of my mind is telling me we like a song very much because of how it uses digress. So we're going to have to go into your playlist to find this song.
That sucks. That's like the worst possible thing.
So we have like 2 more questions to go over, and then it's like bonus ones, but we're going to leave that to part 2.
Part 2. How long have we been going?
Like an hour 30, maybe hour 40.
That's it?
We've been there for a minute.
That's it?
But that's how it goes before I like go
like,
to
you
the
don't
next
realize.
question. Like, people don't really realize it, but like, it's a conversation first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I keep forgetting the camera's there.
speaking of that.
Let me run to the
Let me check that shit.
I keep forgetting it's there, bro.
Yeah, we're good. But, like, one of the things that people don't really realize, but this is a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, once you have, like, a stable conversation, like, that was my wig bag. But, once you have a stable conversation, it's really easy to keep speaking. And you don't really realize that time is passing, but you do realize that you're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Especially if you have, like, truly, like, powerful things to say and things to build on and things to make you feel like, oh, snap, like, I'm feeling that I am felt.
Yeah.
That I'm enjoying who I'm speaking with and who I'm trying to be with.
You're also being heard. It feels so nice to be fucking heard, dude. And like not have your perspective shot down. It's like, oh, I see you. Here's what I'm feeling. Let's meet. Let's meet somewhere in the middle, right?
Indeed.
Full disclosure, sorry if throughout the episode it seemed like I was waiting for my turn to talk. I was listening to you. I just wasn't
okay. So like, quite literally, I do the exact same thing, where it's like I'll sit there and I'll just let you guys talk. It's like, quite literally, yeah. Yeah, boxer. They put me on game. But no, this isn't just for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I do use it as an outlet to try to, like, discuss anything that's on my brain or on my heart. But, like, this is for everyone. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. Anyone could be on the pod. Like, yes, I do, like, cater some questions to, like, certain people. But, like, me and the organization wrote maybe 20, maybe 30 questions. We hit 15.
We hit 15? I swear to God, I felt like
well,
5.
Not 15. We're at more like at 13, 12 right now.
I swear to God, I felt like 5.
It felt like 5.
But you don't realize that while we're doing this, because, like, the thing is, like, when you're kind of putting them in, but not as the exact same question, and you're, like, putting them as conversation-based rather than as, oh, snap, like, we gotta put this in, we gotta say this, then it just feels like a conversation.
Definitely.
It's supposed to make you feel as though that you're free. This is just us talking. Like, we're enjoying this. Excuse me.
You've been excused.
Thank you. But, this is for everyone. Everyone has a voice. And I would like to hear it. Yes, there are some truly wild things. But some things can be left to the blooper. Eventually we'll post those. But no, as I said, this is for everyone, and I hope that everybody can get a part of this and truly speak on the things that they want to speak on. But I digress, once again. What advice would you give to an individual who may be struggling with the societal expectations and pressures related to masculinity or femininity? Yeah.
Diversify who you hang around with.
Yeah, definitely.
Really do, because not only does this, I'm gonna use it. We like reference the geopolitical scale a lot, but like that's just a way of bringing it into the light in terms of people understanding left versus right. Okay, you have a right-leaning person, right? Not necessarily right, but right-leaning. If you surround yourself with the right side, you're going to be more polarized to the right side. You're going to be hyper-polarized. Whereas you surround yourself with people intermediate, left-leaning, not necessarily left side, but left-leaning, you'll sort of mediate and meet in the middle. Because hive mind mentality, okay? Yeah, humans are this, like, glorified evolved species, but at the end of the day, we still have that lizard brain inside of us.
Yeah.
And so you really need to diversify who it is you're hanging around with and who it is you're talking to. Have female friends that you can talk about your own hygiene or talk about your own train of thought with, your feelings with, and also have guy friends to sort of give you that stability, like, okay, at the end of the day, like, you were, at the end of the day, you are whatever it is you identify as, and this is something that we innately have to deal with. But you could always have that outsider's perspective to change up how you do things. Because you do things on a linear track, eventually you'll just get so worn out and tired that you just will derail and do your own thing with little guidance, because you were just so fixed on one spot where you don't have multiple outlets or multiple paths to deal with things.
Yeah, I will say our friend group is pretty diverse in terms of that. Like, I will say there's a good amount of us that are right-leaning, good amount of us left-leaning, good amount right down the middle. I will say I feel like that's a very healthy environment to be in, because we also, like, all respect each other's, like, beliefs and all that. We don't challenge each other, but we do have some healthy debates every so often. But yeah, it's very good to, like, have yourself in that diverse environment, because I will say I was very one way before I came to Norwich, before I came to Vermont. Vermont. And for the longest time growing up, I grew up in New York City, I thought white people were a minority, I'm not gonna lie. I had like five white people in my class in high school.
No,
So
growing up in New Orleans, I knew white people were the majority.
I was like, what's this stormtrooper doing walking into my classroom right now? Like, I was so confused. But anyways, right? Yeah, like, it's good to have that, like, diversity. Good to have that exposure to a lot of things. It's good to step out of your comfort zone, honestly. I was very comfortable where I was, the person that I was in high school. I was very comfortable with that guy. I came here, I decided, you know what? Very introverted, but I'm going to step out of my comfort zone a little bit, meet new people, hear a lot of different perspectives on, you know, different people's beliefs. Whether I agree with it or not, I feel like I've grown a lot from knowing other people's perspectives and all that. So I very much agree with that.
Yeah. Long story short, another way of looking at it. You rural country folks, surround yourself with the suburban city rats, urban city rats. Urban suburban rats. Surround yourself with the country rural folks. You know, you gotta find, like, you know, you'll find a whole pool of mix in the city, and then you'll find very polarized people in the country.
Yeah.
Whatever demographic you see, like, more prominent than the other depends on your location, obviously.
Yeah.
Like here, you know, it's rural and country, but it's a lot of left.
Yeah, a lot left leaning in Vermont.
You go to Texas in the city, like Houston.
No,
Houston, it's a lot of conservative city folk.
Yeah.
So, like, diversify yourself. Like also if we're given areas.
Yeah.
You know,
Top
just
area.
to give you all a visual of what we
Just give you a visual.
touch.
Thinking.
I'm sorry. No, honestly, stop.
That's a sign name. This is a sign for late. This is the T.
I was late one time. Sadly, it was the first day of class.
How are you late on the first day? Me personally, if you're late to class, I'm professional.
I had a meeting.
I love you, but
I would have withdrawn from class. I'm not gonna lie.
But no, like, for me at least, I would say this. My list popped up.
It's
But
okay.
I heard that.
It's okay.
I heard that.
Some people have a more prominent one than others.
I don't want to talk about it.
Talk about what?
But one of the things I would say is be you. Like, no one could be you better than you can. It's your life. Live your life. Love yourself. Yes, it is hard sometimes because, like, you can't really get behind yourself. But try to learn to love yourself and love being you and doing what you do. Because who else will?
Oh, baby, you can go and love yourself.
Whoa. Copyright.
Isn't it not copyright if we sing it?
I don't know.
You're not gonna get demonetized. Don't worry.
I don't know the rules. I don't make no money. Not yet.
You're not gonna get demonetized from that.
But
you were yelling over the last part, so as far as they heard, excuse me.
But
As far as they heard, they just heard the love yourself.
But no, I think that's time.
Damn.
Honestly,
That was good.
this was fun. How did y'all feel? How did y'all enjoy this?
That was very
I
powerful.
loved it. Yeah, it was very powerful.
Very powerful.
Thank you for having me on here. Truly.
Thank you for
Truly.
having us.
I feel
So I
honored.
appreciate having you guys on.
Thank you for choosing us.
It's an honor to even have you guys in this room.
It's an honor to be in this room. It's a vibe.
I know, it's a vibe, dude. It's really a vibe.
What's the time at?
No, don't get up. Don't get up.
He got up.
Don't get up. I gotta do my closing.
I was just curious about the
Now you gotta
time.
cut the.
My bad, gang.
You gotta cut
But
that.
no, as I always say, I hope this is a long-standing podcast that everyone could learn from and be able to hear and gain new knowledge and gain new perspective, because it's the open-minded podcast, the safe space, safe place. It's a spot where everybody can, I hope, feel as though that their opinion matters. And until next time, Avida say.
Here's a